Jonas laughed. Is that what he told you? I appreciate Drake's thoroughness in following up on you, but you, poor David, are insignificant. After all, look at your Santa. Have you ever seen a creature so weak? David wished it wasn't so, but recalled how feeble Santa looked on the train platform. Jonas continued. No, I'm afraid what's done is done. Soon the world will engulf itself. Then I'll enter in with a storm like they've never known. Global warming? Ha! Once I'm back in the game, all will be made right. Come, Drake. There's no need to gloat in their misery. The Yeti looked at the trio, then smirked as he turned away. The pair were gone. Santa fell. What remaining strength he held was drifting away. David rushed to him and with the help of Joy propped Santa up on his side. David demanded, "Tell me it isn't true. Tell me he's lying." "I wish I could. Don't get me wrong, I am Santa, just with a different resume." "How could you lie?" "It wasn't a lie. Everything I did for humanity. I wanted so badly to give people as much time as possible. For centuries, nothing worked. People kept fighting and dying. Life is too precious to be cut short. So I stumbled upon a simple truth. A life full of love can extend. And there can be no greater form of love than charity. I gave the world a bit of charity, and life grew." "Charity, huh? You didn't do it to promote yourself above him?" "Of course not. I mean, there isn't a greater sense of joy than seeing your life impacting another. Having my life mean something to someone else is all I wanted. Giving charity and hope to children was the greatest joy I found. I didn't mean for the work to take away from Jonas or anyone else. All I wanted was to matter." David accepted Santa's explanation and then asked, "So what now? Is there anything we can do to fix this?" Santa shook his head. He begrudgingly accepted Jonas's efforts. He knew that children had lost their way. Somehow, they've allowed themselves to grow up, never knowing what it means to care for another. All they see is a world on fire, a fire burning brighter than any fire before. Santa knew there wasn't a way to put out this flame. He acknowledged, "David, I'm afraid I've done all I can do. I'm sorry for bringing you into this. Here, with the little magic left in me, please take this portal home." With a scrunch of his nose, a portal appeared behind Santa. He implored David to go through. Fearful of Santa's current condition, David was hesitant to go. Joy took him by the hand and assured David that all was well. Before stepping through, David turned around to see Santa's face once more. Without warning, the portal pulled him in, taking David directly home. He looked around and everything was where it once was. He went inside and looked at the clock. It had been 10 minutes since he left. Joy was right. Time works differently in the North Pole. Time, what a funny thing. Everyone wants more of it, except no one is willing to do what it takes to get it. David smiled. Santa, the keeper and giver of time. Refusing to let his memory of Santa go to waste, David turned into the kitchen and began pulling different pots and pans out of their place. The noise caused such a ruckus that David's mother came in to see what was the matter. As he pulled some eggs from the fridge, his mother inquired what he was up to. Rather than share everything he learned, David offered, "I'd like to make something for our neighbors. Give them a little hope and charity this year. Let them know that they matter to us." His mother smiled. Although she had been keeping herself busy, it was hard to ignore her son's generosity. She went into the pantry and pulled out a couple of aprons. The pair then went to work. They must have been at it for some time, mixing and baking different goods, because David's father had come home from work. Like David's mother, he was surprised at the commotion inside the kitchen. There's something humbling about seeing your child attempting to be a better person than you. His father put away his work things, then came into the kitchen to help out where he could. For the remainder of the night, the trio had mixed, baked, and bagged 24 plates of goodies. Each was filled to the brim with cookies and fudge. In the morning, David and his mother went to drop off each plate to one of their neighbors, while David's father took some to work. Until this moment, David wasn't sure about those things Santa said. After all, how could a gift lift someone's spirit? Remarkably, every place he went, each neighbor was surprised by the gesture. David saw how a single plate changed their countenance. Right then, he understood what Santa meant. There is something special happening inside when you put someone else's interests above your own. Knowing how they mattered to him, David saw his neighbors' hearts melted. A funny thing occurred after that. David's gesture was reciprocated, not only in kindness, but in deeds. Everyone who received a plate went about making their own. Instead of returning the favor to David and his family, they extended it to others. Pretty soon, charity abounded in and around David's town. Families reconnected. Neighbors opened their doors. The selflessness eventually permeated outside of the town's borders. By the time Christmas came, there couldn't be a better place to find joy and hope in all the world. Still, a part of David was sad, knowing that Santa ceased to exist. When Christmas morning came, the only gifts he expected were those from his parents. However, underneath the tree, behind one of the larger presents, was a card. It was addressed to David. The card read, "My dear David, I know no words that can express the measure of my heart. Although my life on earth is older than I care to remember, there's something peculiar about seeing the end. I guess I never considered that time was against me. After all, I kept it for so many years. Yet in all the time I've lived, I'm surprised to find myself surprised. You see, I always thought that charity extended my life, that it somehow gave my life meaning. I know now that something else exists that is more special than this unique sort of love, and that's belief. Knowing that someone believes in you and having faith in your cause brings a certain fulfillment that I didn't know existed. My life is full, knowing that you're out there caring and sharing your life with others. I'm glad to know you, to see you become the man that you're becoming. You are truly a special boy. Thank you for believing in me. S.C." David left the room in tears. He couldn't believe that he was gone. He held that letter tight, cherishing every written word. In the coming days, David was surprised to find joy in his backyard. He went over to the elf, wishing to express his sorrow in Santa's passing. Before he could say a word, Joy handed David another note. This one read, "My dear David, I don't know how you did it, but somehow you've saved my life. As a dark shadow attempted to call me home, I felt life return to my body. You're the only person I could think of. I want you to know that whatever you're doing, you're making a difference. S.C." David lifted his face from the note to see Joy smiling back at him. He went to embrace her, but missed his opportunity when she disappeared. The portal already pulled her through. Knowing the difference a single act of kindness may have on another, David spent his remaining days living a life full of charity. Wherever he went, he expressed his love for others, giving them the greatest hope they could find, someone who believed in them.